welcome back to another episode of God Built This Podcast, PODMAS edition. I am your host, Maxine, and we're on episode 2 of PODMAS 2022. Let's get into it. So, let's talk about this TJ Holmes situation. TJ Holmes. Now, I have a little bit of a history with TJ Holmes. I'm being facetious. It's not really a history directly, but I do have a little bit of a story. It's kind of cool. It's not that serious, but like I just want to say I remember like the earlier years of Twitter when it was easily accessible for common folks like us to access like actual like celebrities or checkmarked people. He was one of the people who I spoken to directly, primarily because and only because I wanted to be an audience member of a show that he had years ago. This was like in my undergraduate years. And I think he had his own show on BET. It was a talk show that he hosted solely, and he discussed like a plethora of different topics. And I used to watch the show just like on my own naturally. And when I found out that, I could become an audience member if I just log on and do X, Y, and Z, cool, bet. I'm in there. And the show was filming in New York. What was the name of that show? Let's get into that because I was so excited about the opportunity. Hold on. TJ Holmes BET show. And again, this was years ago. And I used to Don't Sleep. That's what it's called. Yep. Don't Sleep, hosted by TJ Holmes. This was in 2012. Okay. And I was in my junior year of college, of undergrad. So I used to watch him a lot, just like outside of BET. He was also on a segment of CNN News. He was just pretty awesome. And I like the way that he, delivered his news stories, and I mean he was attracted to the eye, right? So let's just be very fucking honest, especially back then for me. I was like, oh, he's smart and handsome. Okay, cool. So bet I was like, wait, I could potentially be an audience member of his show and maybe even meet him, get a picture. That's awesome and cool. It'll be another trip to New York. I've been to New York several times, so this will be a great opportunity. Bet. So I got the ticket by completing it on online somehow, and I was literally on my way to New York. I arrived to New York, and mind you, I went to school in Connecticut. I went to the University of New Haven. Shout out to Chargers. That's our mascot. But anyway, so I went to New York, got on a bus to New York. It was like probably an hour and a half drive, and went to the specific address. Come to find out, the show got canceled. And so I DM'd that nigga. I was like, hello. I came here to be an audience member of your fucking show. What's up? And he actually responded. I really didn't think he was going to respond, but he responded. He was so kind. He said he apologizes profusely, and unbeknownst to him, the show got canceled. At least that episode got canceled, and they ended up canceling the show shortly after. Reasons I don't know, but he was very upset about that, and he had no control over it, and he was just explaining that to me in my DMs, and it just felt so cool that he responded, and it was just nice, like, oh, I guess I forgive you responded to me. But no, I was really looking forward to seeing him and being a part of the audience and just experiencing a live show happening before my eyes, but I didn't get to experience that. So anyway, oh my gosh, his first name is not TJ. I mean, obviously TJ is, it stands for something, but I didn't think his first name was Lutelius. Lutelius, Loutelious. Wow, this nigga's country, huh? But anyway, So I used to watch him years ago. So I am aware of him. And yes, he was on CNN on the show called CNN Newsroom. That's when I was a staunch Democrat, right? And I used to watch him there too. And he would use vernacular that was pretty common amongst black folks. So, you know how we say, yo, that was mad fun. That was mad interesting, right? So we use mad to emphasize the expression. So he would say mad several times on CNN. And I remember his co-host would be like, what is that? What are you saying? What is that? What is mad? Da, da, da. Like they called him out in that. Mind you, this was a white woman co-host who had the nerve to call him out and made him feel foolish. And you could tell in his face that he felt embarrassed. I remember all these like little details, but nonetheless, I had a little bit of an interaction with him virtually at the very least. So anyway, come 2022, he is on Good Morning America. I didn't know this until recently, until the news came out. I think I did know it, but I didn't really pay attention, so I kind of forgot. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm happy to see that he has transitioned onto mainstream media, and good for him. I just kind of felt proud and happy for him. Like, wow, I remember just having a brief moment virtually with him, and to see how he has progressed so much in his career, it just felt so cool to see. So coming across the news of him being in a romantic relationship with the co-host of that same segment, I was taken aback. Like, oh wow, really? Okay. Her name is Amy Rodock, white woman, and they have been working together closely on set, behind the scenes, and allegedly their relationship progressed when they both trained for the marathon together. Now they say whenever you train with someone, that is a great not a great opportunity, but like the opportunity for anything more than platonic to arise can easily arise, because when you're training, it is so intimate. It's a lot of mental work, right? You have to really believe that you can achieve. And when you're working with someone so closely, you're really demonstrating your vulnerabilities and all these things, and you're literally training with them, exercising with them, they're stretching you out, and anyway, so they've been busted on having an affair. Both of them are married respectively to their spouses, and so it's a little bit of a scandal, right? I get it, I get the scandal. What made it more scandalous is one, they're on TV and they're co-hosts, and hey, look, shit happens. And I think sometimes, when you're working with someone so closely for so many hours, it is a possibility. So at first I was like, well, hey, do you, nigga? Right? Or do you, girl? Because, the woman is also here in a scandalous affair as well. And, that's something that she has to chalk it up with as well. So whatever. But what also came up was the fact that allegedly, it's alleged that he has also been in a relationship with another coworker at the job. And apparently this coworker is friends, or friendly at least, with Amy Rodak. And so you have two people who he had intimate relations with. And it's a little bit of an awkward situation. I don't know what that, because at first I was looking at the situation like, oh, well, what if they just found love with each other and it's beautiful and it's honest and yada, yada, yada. Oh, her name is Roback, not Rodak. So Roback. Sure, it's messy and yada, 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 but I was initially in support of it because, hey, what if they were going through challenges within their respective marriages and found refuge within each other, and it just became a love story that just started off the way that it did, but they ended up choosing each other. Like, I was in that mindset. But hearing that he may have been allegedly sleeping with another coworker prior to her, not the same time, but prior to her. So seemingly there is a track record of affairs that he's having at the workplace. I mean, sure, it doesn't look pretty clean, right? It doesn't look pretty clean. And at the end of the day, we have to look at it like this. These are two consenting adults. Three, if you want to chime in the previous woman who he had an alleged affair with prior to her. But nonetheless, these are adults. And if they want to do adult things with each other, considering that there may be some consequences that may not be the cleanest, then so be it. Like, I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm not here to make them feel foolish or whatever it is, or shame him or cancel him for X, Y, and Z. I think it's important to just let people be. And, like, they look kind of cute together. She's a white woman. He's a black man, light-skinned brother, and I don't know. I just think they naturally have this chemistry with each other. I think there was just a natural attraction towards each other. And so it kind of is a love story that I find to be kind of cute. So because it was a consensual relationship, quote, not a violation of company policy. So this is not a violation, but from the latest that I've heard on this is both of them have been excused from their hour show, leaving them to not have a job anymore. Like, I don't know, what does that mean? Like, will they have their job back in a month or two? Like, what does that mean? But I just feel like, so what? Like, so what? Like, I think we care too much about what people do outside of their marriage or within their marriage specifically. And we're quick to present this like Puritan approach when it comes to other people's shit. Like, this is what they are choosing to do. And so it is. Like, we don't know if respectively their spouses have been separated from them for some time. We don't know if they've been just in agreement, or like, we don't know the details. We just see these optics, and according to the standard of relationship that we're supposed to accept here in society, we're immediately painting him as this like bad guy, or, you know, someone who is this sexual mischief, and oh, he's had a relationship with someone else at the workplace too. He's disgusting. I don't know. Like, I feel like people are kind of going a little bit too far for it, and I wish that they didn't have this negative portrayal of them. I wish him well. I do. I think he'll be fine. I wish her well, and you know, and so it is. Let's move on. Derrick Jaxn. Okay, so Derrick Jaxn, for those who may not be familiar, remember that guy, super buff guy who would be in his car delivering just man school 101 advice to men on how to keep a woman, how to satisfy a woman, how to be chosen, and just like very much this guy who you could get advice from, and he's presenting himself as this stand-up guy. I'm a husband, and I love my wife. So just like last year, it's been revealed that he has been having affairs, multiple affairs, and he revealed this. Remember the video that he had with his wife, and his wife was wearing this bonnet while he's looking buff and well put together, and she looking like she just woke up, and it's like, girl, what's going on? So his wife is very holy, very much of this modest approach when it comes to femininity. I don't want to get into that part of the story, but like, I think there is something to that. Maybe he manipulated her to dress a specific way, Maybe he's making her feel like she has to look like this in order for her to feel loved. I don't know. But there's an image of her recently in a pool, and she got on a whole gear, like a whole, not like a swim gear. I'm talking about like a whole like blazer set, hat on, like so much so that it feels like she's ashamed of her body and like she's hiding it. And I think this is just so common amongst Christians and like hardcore Christians, and the expectations for us to be, or for, you know, for Christians in general to be this like holy, and I'm not going to ever look desirable, and oh my gosh, don't think I'm attractive. If you do, then we're going against God. And I just feel like that is so, I think that's demonic. You know, I think that approach to your femininity is demonic. You know, I think when we're so quick to shame our physical bodies, I think that's demonic. You know, I think that's a switch of how we should actually look at ourselves. So she's of that pool of people, of that pool of Christians who go about her life like that. There's a recent picture of him, of Derrick Jaxn, with another woman, and he's at this event called Art Basel, or Basel, yeah, Basel, and I think it's in Miami. And according to the photo, you could clearly see that he's intimate with her, like he's holding her by the bottom of her back, and they're taking a picture together. Like, okay, there's something going on. So, of course, there was a backlash because everyone's having this Puritan approach to things. And he, since then, announced that he is divorcing his wife. And, okay, cool. You're divorcing his wife. Fine. Now, some comments that I'm reading is, oh, well, that's not true. He's just saying that to save face. Or his wife doesn't know that. Or even so, if he's still technically married, or he's still married, period, and he shouldn't be out with another woman. I really want to talk about that part. Shut the fuck up. Like, can we just stop there? I responded to somebody. I was like, you mean to tell me if I am seven, and I gave the assumption, like, I don't know his marriage, his details, what's going on, but let's assume that he is, yes, he's legally married. I get that. But let's assume that he and his wife have separated. They have agreed to separate, to go about the process of divorce, and they're on one accord when it comes to that. They've both decided that, hey, this marriage is not working out. I'm not happy. You're not happy. I can't give you what you want. You can't give me what I want. We've exhausted everything, and we're moving forward away from each other. Just because you make that conversation doesn't mean that the divorce happens the next day. You know, like, doesn't mean that the divorce is solidified within an hour of having that conversation. It takes a process. However that process is allocated, it's a process nonetheless. So you mean to tell me if 6 months go by and the process of divorce is still processing, I'm supposed to just not ever date until the ink is dry? What are we talking about? Like, what? That doesn't even make, like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. And we're not being realistic with ourselves. Like, why are we withholding ourselves from happiness? Oh, because it doesn't look good? Because you have this Puritan mindset when it comes to relationships and how it should look? What is this based off of? You know, like, what is even marriage? Let's get into that. But the point is, like, we can't just be so quick to be like, well, he's married. He should have never did it anyway. He should still be faithful to his wife. What? If we've broken up and now we gotta wait on paperwork to solidify it, I don't give a fuck if we're still legally married. We've broken up. We've communicated that we are broken up, meaning you could do whatever you want and I could do whatever I want. And sure, we're legally wife and husband, husband and wife, but we're not in this thing together like we were before. So anyway, I say all that to say, not to say I never really cared for Derrick Jaxn. I always thought he was a spoof. Like, I felt like nothing about, I just knew he was disingenuous from the very beginning. Like, just be who you are. And so when it was revealed that he wasn't really walking the walk of his speech, of his rhetoric, I wasn't surprised, because he just never gave off genuine vibes. So whatever, nigga, bye, that's totally fine. I support just moving on. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm like in the anomaly class of people who feel this way, because I never understood that mindset. I've had this mindset since I was young. Like, no, I remember my ex-boyfriend, he will always say, when we were dating, he will always say, if he gets married, or at that time we was kind of like talking about marriage. And he would say with such a serious voice, he's like, I'm not divorcing. We're not going to get a divorce if we get married. And when he said that, y'all, I think to the average woman, right? The woman who feel the way that some of these commenters feel about marriage, how, well, he's still married, he shouldn't be out with another woman. It doesn't matter if they're separated. That type of woman would love something like that from their potential husband, right? They would love to hear that, oh my gosh, he's going to be in this marriage and he's going to stick by me and we're going to still do this thing and we're going to still yada, yada, yada. We're going to still be in this 15 years in, 10 years in, 20 years in. I had a totally different reaction to that. I was like, what? Because he will always say, divorce is not an option. Divorce is not an option. And I'm like, yes, it is. There's always an option. Like, are we in La La Land? It is always an option. Like, there's always an option to not be together. And you know what's so ironic about that, though? When we were dating, he will always say to me, well, we could just end it right now. We could just leave each other. We could just break up right now. If you don't want to do this, we could just end the relationship. Like, he will always kind of dangle it in my face. I could just end this relationship right now. We could just end it right now. He'll always say that to me. And I would hate. I'm like, why would you be so quick to say that? And he was a fucking asshole. But anyway, he will always say that. Yeah, when it came to marriage, it was just this like forever and for always. And look, I get the whole vows thing kind of say that, right? Till death do us part. But I think that's archaic as well. Like, what is all of that founded in? Like, what does that even mean? Like, marriage wasn't even created until we created it. It wasn't like this thing that was said from the get-go, right? Like, it wasn't, this whole legality of it is what I'm saying, wasn't created until we created it. So all I'm saying is it's not natural. Maybe that's another conversation for another time, but like, it's not natural. It's not. So for you to like take on this unnatural approach to something that's not natural, or vice versa, whatever I said, but either way, I just find it so laughable. So when he said that, I always respond. I'm like, well, if it's not working, I will want a divorce. Like, and he'll give me this look, like this shameful look. He was so condescending. Oh my gosh. But he'll give me this shameful look, like, what? No, I'm gonna still want to be in the marriage and I'm not gonna divorce. Da, 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 da. But I received that as just alarming. I was alarmed. That's alarming to me. Like, don't ever not give me a way out, because that's what it sounded like. Like, you can't leave me. Literally, to death do us part. So if you want to leave me, I'm gonna kill you. You know, that's how I received it. It kind of really freaked me out. Like, wait, what are you saying? Like, you gonna lock me up? Like, is it that bad? Like, we could just divorce and move on amicably. Like, it doesn't have to be that serious. But the way that he said it was just very much so no, we will never leave each other. I don't care how unhappy I make you. I don't care how unhappy you make me. We're in this thing. And that's another thing. Some people just kind of stay in relationships, whether it's marriage or relationships in general, just because it looks good, right? Like, oh, well, we've been together for 10 years. We've been together for 15, 20 years. Like, people like to say that. Like, they just like, it's like a pride thing, you know? It's like I like to say that I've been in this thing with someone for 5, 7, 10, 15, 12, 20 years. Like, it sounds good. It just makes you look good for some reason. There's something about the number thing that makes people feel prideful. It's super weird. Like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? Okay, you was with someone for 10 years, but you've been unhappy the last 7. Okay. But, oh, I was together for 10 years. Congrats. Like, what are we talking about? Like, we get so, like, caught up in things that really don't matter. But anyway, yeah, he will always say that, and I always felt like, yeah, this is kind of scary. Like, I find this to be alarming. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that was alarming, and we obviously didn't work out. So there's that. But yeah, so Derrick Jaxn, he may be going through, or maybe just announcing to us that he's getting a divorce, and I don't know how factual it is, but nonetheless, like, let that nigga be. Like, who cares? There's a video of his potentially soon to be ex-wife, and she's cursing, basically not cursing like F, you know, nigga, shit, like, not like that, like literally putting a hex on you type of curse. So she's saying these specific words that are biblical, and contrary to popular belief, regardless if you identify as a Christian or not, you could use the Bible and find what you need to find to manifest things. So, like, if you are someone who practices witchcraft, you could use the Bible and find verses and put them together and put a spell on people. You know, put a curse, put a hex on people. Like, the Bible could be used for good, or it could be used for corruption. And for those who practice witchcraft, they know what I'm talking about. Like, there's different ways with the Bible that you could use it. It's not this, I get it's a holy text, but like, you could make anything unholy. Anything. So she was using specific words from the Bible to cast damnation on people who are going against her marriage and her husband. So she said a couple of words like, may your children be fatherless, may your womb be broken. Like, she was speaking specific language that is biblically sound to put a hex on you. Now, that's terrifying, right? Like, that's pretty crazy. And I feel like maybe that's why he hasn't divorced her yet, right? Like, maybe he's been going through these affairs because he's trying to find a way out. Like, he's trying to push her out. I think there's something to that. There's something that I read recently it was a comment someone said, like, if a man is cheating on you left and right, they want you to leave. Like, they want you to leave. They're trying to get you to break up with them. And it's clear that she's not getting the hint. It's clear that it's not obvious for her, or she's just being purposely obtuse in this case. But she is clearly still in it. And I don't know how divorce works. Like, if you file for divorce, but if the recipient is not, like, agreeing to it, does that mean you're just still in the marriage until she finally agrees? Like, I don't know, because you know how you get sued, or you get subpoenaed. Is it subpoena? You know that thing when someone from the tax county office they say you get served, right? You get served. And it's until you say, hi, yes, my name is Maxine Morency. Until you confirm your identity, that is when the person can deliver you the serve. You've been served. Right? You've been served, right? Yeah. So anyway, I think it's that. So that is the only way that is legal, right? I think it's a weird process. I don't know how they or why they do it like that. Like, oh, once you say who you are, that is grounds for being served. Like, why can't you just be served? Anyway, I don't know if that goes the same way for a divorce. Nonetheless, she is still in it, and she's cursing and damning people to hell and damning children to be fatherless because you wronged her in her marriage. Like, that's some sick shit. You know, like, if you're having to go about your marriage that way, maybe enough is enough, right? Like, maybe we should kind of wrap it up. I don't know. So God bless Derrick Jaxn. I think he needs help. I think he needs to be rescued. I think some saving needs to happen here. Yeah, because he in danger, girl. You in danger, okay? Shout out to Ghost. That movie Ghost. But okay, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the episode here. Thank you so much for listening, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow for PODMAS. Goodbye.